In today's episode of my podcast story, we have Vince Quinn, the co-founder and creative director of SBX Productions and the host of the podcast, It's Not Just Talking. Vince is known for his unique approach to podcasting, where he emphasizes the art of hosting as a vital life skill that can transform not just podcasts, but also personal and professional relationships. With a background that spans from radio intern to nationally syndicated host, Vince has dedicated his career to helping others unlock their hosting potential and create impactful content. He's here to share his inspiring journey on how he built his show from the ground up and how he empowers others to become better communicators in all aspects of life. Can you tell us your name and what you do?
Yeah, so Vince Quinn, and I am the co-founder of a podcast production company. So not just a podcaster, but I actually help other people make podcasts. So day in and day out, I work with a lot of coaches, consultants, people who are really the face of their business. And I help them build a podcast that actually fits who they are, what they do, the kind of people they want to serve. And at the same time, I'm doing my own show pretty much about the kind of work that I do. And same thing, trying to help those same kinds of people grow their business through podcasting.
Wow, thank you so much for showing up, because this is going to be a very interesting conversations. Okay, the first thing, you didn't mention that you have a podcast. What's the name of the podcast and what's the podcast about?
Yeah, so the podcast is called It's Not Just Talking. And I named it that because so many people are like, oh, it's a podcast. It's just talking. It can't be that hard. And it's like, no, it's not just talking. So, whenever I would hear that, it would drive me nuts. So I thought it was a fun name for the title. And
It's
that
just not talking. Okay.
Yeah. So and the whole thing was that when you think about running a podcast at a really high level, because there's so many podcasts out there and everybody wants to get attention and get the downloads and all those kinds of things, but you're competing with everybody else that's out there. And you're competing with all these other different kinds of content. You're competing against Instagram. You're competing against TikTok, and you know what I mean? YouTube. Like you're competing against everything. So you've got to run the show in such a way that you're really thinking about all of the strategy behind it. And each thing should, the more you get acclimated to podcasting, the more intentional things should be. And so when you think about it that way of how do I manage my time? Who are the exact kinds of people that I'm talking to? How am I distributing the show? How am I promoting the show? How am I being more intentional day in and day out with the kinds of people that I'm addressing? And for me, and I'm doing this kind of stuff. Like I say this because I'm doing this myself all the time. I think it's important. Like just in the last 2 weeks, I've updated the description of the show. I upgraded the cover image for the show. I went through, and just yesterday I was building an updated thumbnails for the show. So it's just like it's this constant process of making stuff, refining stuff, and always just trying to get better because you've got goals and everybody else does too.
Well, I'd love to. I'll share my screen just so we can spend a brief moment on the YouTube channel, and because I'm seeing and the thumbnails, they look really, really good.
Yeah. Okay.
Let me know once you can see my screen. Can you see it?
So I can see it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's not just talking. So I did search for the title, but it did not pop up. So I had to like add your name to the title of the podcast before it could pop up. So I guess the SEO would need to sprinkle some of the magic there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have to make some tweaks, I guess. It's good to know.
So I mean the easiest thing every podcast can do. I that's what I think, right, is to rank for your show. Like not even keywords, not even topics, not even any of those stuff. Like if people try to find your show, you should show up. Like that's like the basic stuff before you even try doing any other thing. Yeah. Okay. I like the tone. They're really on point, and the episodes are quite the medium length. Oh.
Yeah, and I definitely didn't want to run long. If anything, I'm actually starting to shorten some. It's funny because I've had extremes with my show, which is a problem. And I've actually talked about it on my own show. Is like if you have a really short episode where some of my episodes are 12 minutes and then other episodes are 40 minutes, people don't know when to put me on. You know what I mean? Like they don't know what they're getting and what kind of information and how long they're getting it for. So we've had to revamp the show and really start working towards a middle ground where these episodes are more like 25 to 30 minutes pretty consistently. And whether that's just me and there's no guest, or me and my co-host, which is also my business partner, or it's having a guest on the show, which is just somebody I meet on Podmatch and things like that. Like
Yeah.
it just can't be short is nice, but if you're going to do short, it needs to be consistently short. And that was the problem. So, yeah, I'm making that's one of the many adjustments that I'm always making to the show.
Oh, yeah, it's a work in progress. I like that word. What this podcast, what's the publishing frequency schedule?
Yeah, so we do it every week. We release every Wednesday. We started the show in October of last year,
Yeah, I can
and we've
see.
been releasing it every single week since then.
Wow, you guys have been like crushing it over and over again. That's wonderful. And I like the thumbnails. The thing about the each episode, right, is the fact that the episodes are optimized for search, right? I just let me see. Let me just pick a wide guess.
Yeah.
How to network the right way through podcasting. Okay, let's search for how to network through podcasting and let's see if it will rank. It should come up. How to network. It's fun. It's just on the spot moment thing. How to network
Yeah, I like
through
it.
podcasting. I don't even know how to type fast. Uh, how to network through podcasting. Okay, okay. So let's
Nope.
work. Okay,
Not
okay.
looking good so far.
I don't know what's happening. The thing right now is that all the results I'm seeing, they are out of the point. I guess my search result is skewed, or maybe something is just happening.
Well, or we're not doing something right, which I'm totally willing to admit that I don't know everything. You know what I mean?
Okay, if I add your name, let's see. It's Vince, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Let's see. It's a pop up. What's going on?
Okay, well, that's
What's
something more
happening?
recent. I mean, a lot of
Okay.
these things have more views. I don't know how much that would matter, but my episodes
Yeah.
don't get a ton of views. I don't know how that factors into the algorithm
Yeah, like
compared to a search like this.
this search of a thing, it's the kind of episodes you make, the kind of niche you do is evergreen, right? It's something that 6 months from now someone can find your content, listen to it, get value from it, and say, yeah, I'd love to work with you and stuff like that, right?
Yep.
So I've noticed, I don't know, I think it has something to do with your show. I think I've noticed a pattern. The search results are not like the traditional search results the moment you add podcast.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you start seeing results that has not, you start seeing podcasts show on YouTube that has nothing to do with what you searched just because you added podcast. If I remove podcasting from it now and I put just your name, and we'll see what the results will be. Let's see if
Yeah, see, I'm a
okay.
ghost on this aspect of it.
Okay, I'll do something. Let me see if I do have to network through podcasting, I'll search it on Google and see if it will show up in Google.
Sure.
Okay, I'll have to change what I'm sharing. Let me share something else. Okay, let me just share my window. You let me know once you can see my screen. Can you
Yeah,
see it?
sure. Yes, I can.
Okay, yeah. And so I'll put in this and let's see. Okay.
Okay, that's a show I was a guest on, but that is me.
That is you, yeah. Oh.
That is me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing about guesting on podcast. Now you see someone listens to the episode, they say, "Wow, this guy is an expert. I should go check him out," and they see they get sucked into your ecosystem of podcasts and products. Wow, that's brilliant. I think this is this is you too. I can't really see the image, but this is the Alicia Galati.
Yeah,
Did you feature on the podcast?
I'm trying to remember. Oh my god, I'm on so many shows, and that's part of it too. Like that's a big thing for me for how I promote. I'm on shows, a couple times a week, and I've been
Yeah,
doing that pretty consistently. Because same thing, it's like it's a growth strategy.
yeah. Oh, okay. No, this is not you. This is you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm guessing this is you too, right? Man,
Yeah, yep. I'm pretty
the
sure that's
first
me.
click,
Yeah,
the
the
first
first
click,
click.
done it.
That's the video. It's the same post. It's yeah for the video that was up at the top. that's the same company. So
man,
yeah,
oh man.
so they ranked twice there. There's the show at the bottom.
Then this is your show. Wow.
There we go.
Wow. If I remove Vince from it, let me see.
Probably not.
Let's see. I mean. Okay. Just let me know if you see anything that relates to you.
Power of podcasting. Nope. No.
Wow. That's the thing about search results, right? I've noticed that like search is one of those things that it's pretty. I won't want to use the word easy, but it's just it's there. Nobody's competing for attention like that. It's a long game, and if I was to search for your name now, I know you're an influencer in this industry, so you will be popping up everywhere. Yeah, because sometimes when people, one of the things I've noticed, and I did a deep research on SEO, right? And
yeah,
so I was like, what is the thought process that influences podcast SEO? Where does the journey start from? And sometimes it's, let's say as you're a guest on this show, they listen to you talk and share your story, and like, yeah, I like this guy. I'd love to go check out more of his episodes. And then they type your name on the podcast platform or wherever they listen, and they see you and they're like, yeah, okay, this episode, I like this one, I'll listen to it. And then they just start binge watching most of your content. And yeah, wow, I like
so
that.
This is all me. This is like literally all of it's me.
Yeah. So it's easy to find you. Like everything, you just dominating the search results, man. You there is no space for someone else. Everything. Yeah. I guess maybe it's because you have okay, if we search for Vince Quinn, I just like doing this. Hey, just a quick break. If you enjoying the insights so far and want even more behind the scenes ideas, inspiration, and tools for growing your own podcast, join my email list at mypodcaststory.com/join. That is mypodcaststory.com/join. You get access to helpful resources, exclusive updates, and the kind of stuff I only share with my email subscribers. Whether you're starting out or already podcasting, there's something valuable waiting for you. Head over to mypodcaststory.com/join and subscribe. Now, back to the episode.
Yeah.
Okay. Podcasting. And this is you. This is you, right?
Let's see. No, that one's not me.
Wow,
but I'm
okay.
second. I'm the second thing there.
This is you.
So that's me.
Okay, this lady,
that must have been
using your podcast to build connection and sell authentically. That should be it.
And I think I met Alicia. I can't see her, so I can't process it. But that would only be like 2 months ago. Oh no! Never mind.
No. This is Vince Warnock. This is not you. Definitely not you.
Different guy. I gotta fight him. All right, there can only be one Vince.
Wow. Okay, then this is you. No, this is someone else. Vince Cole.
No,
wow.
Yeah,
there are a lot of Vince in the industry. Wow, this is it's I thought it was even less competitive, but it is competitive. Wow.
Yeah, a couple of Vinces out there.
We'll get there. Yeah.
Oh, we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. I think SEO for me is one of the things I really want to focus on, because one of the things I notice is that when people do SEO for podcasts, right? And this is me just bouncing off ideas with you, and I'll stop sharing my screen for now.
Yeah.
Is when people do SEO, what they do is, okay, first of all, before I started the podcast, I had a blog. So when I'm doing a podcast, I'm always, I'm looking at it like, oh, as a blog, I'm like, how's this stuff going to rank on SEO? When people do SEO, they just release a podcast episode, and I know I have a lot to catch up on. I have a lot of backlog to eventually turn to blog posts and put out there. They just released the episode title, puts their little description on the website, and that's it. Well, that in itself can rank, but the SEO is designed to rank for text. Like text does really, really well on search engines, really, really well compared to audio and then video and all those other platforms.
Mm-hmm. And that's one of those things that we're working on now. So I've got a website guy, but it's an interesting balance. So I've got a guy who helps me with my website. He's working on building out a part of the site where we can easily start posting about the shows, because we haven't been doing that. We've just been releasing the episodes and getting that going. But then you get into this interesting balance where I know everything is also starting to move towards AI search results and trying to figure out that balance of, okay, well, how much time do we put into SEO and what should that investment be versus also looking ahead to the way people search within AI, and how do you rank there, and what do you do differently? So what does that look like? I don't know. But it's something to figure out. So and that's the tough thing too, is at like I'm running a business, I'm doing my own show, and so I have to balance all of this time. It's like where do you put in the investment is such a tough
Yeah.
question, which is why
Yeah.
for the longest time, like here's something that's kind of fun, is when we started our show for the business, we literally did not care how many downloads we got on the podcast. It didn't matter. We weren't
Okay.
even checking the numbers for months because the whole thing was we were using it as a way to get a lot of content that we could put on social media. So we wanted a lot
Oh.
of clips to put on LinkedIn,
Oh.
Instagram,
Yeah.
things like
I see.
that. And we just wanted to see how that would do. We wanted to be visible first
Wow.
in the places where people saw us. And
Okay.
and that worked, you know, but
Okay.
it was a very different strategy than what a lot of
Okay.
people would
So
expect.
so the focus was, okay, let me start a podcast so I can get content to post on the algorithm, so platforms. What I mean by algorithm, I'm like that is Instagram, Facebook, and all those things, that so basically social media, right?
Yeah, that was our number one thing. It was because it's like when you're building the show, we wanted to treat it in stages, basically. So the first thing was, can we get a lot of content from the show and spit it out on social media and do that consistently? And the answer was yes. And then we were able to look at the numbers and say, okay, how much of an impact has this had on our social media account? Like, how much have our views gone up? How regularly are we posting? What are the total number of posts? Like all that kind of stuff. And everything was really good. So huge improvement. Really happy with it. And then it was like, okay, what's the next thing that we can do now that we've got all of that? It's okay. Now let's figure out how we can do some things to actually start growing the show. Because
Yeah.
at some point, outside of just posting more, which is something we can do, and we're working on that. Like, we're already out there. We're already making the content, so there's not a major change of what we want to do on social media. So it's okay. Yeah, we'll get more posts up. We'll work on that. But now let's work on getting actual download numbers for the show and seeing what that number looks like. And it's a whole different strategy, but we're trying to do all of that at the same time. So it's a lot to juggle.
Yeah, the thing I like about podcast, for me, my approach is I hate doing one time stuffs, right? I'm always thinking, if I want to do something, how can I just integrate it into the system such that, by just releasing episodes, I will be doing that marketing strategy. I don't know if it makes sense, right? Okay, I'll give an example. This blog post we're talking about, right? If I was to, there's so many good AI tools and all that, I would spend maybe a weekend coming up with really detailed prompts, feeding it with my custom writing style and all that, and all the things I wanted to do, and put in the type of blog post and all that. And guess what it do? When the episodes are released, it's simple automation. It pulls in the audio, transcribes it, take the transcripts, and based on that prompt, write a detailed blog post. Feeds it into one of these tools, and then you can add human approval and say, okay, I just want to look at it and see. It's not like I've tested it and see that it works, but I want to still see before it goes live, so that I make sure that I approve everything that goes live. And then you can put someone in charge and then just train them, and you just go through it and say, okay, yeah, this is nice, and then you just say yes, and then the thing goes live. So you don't even have to start to copy and paste and do all those things, right? We've gotten to that level. Like 5 years ago, it wasn't even possible, but now we can do that.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how all of this stuff has changed. Like when I first started getting into podcasting full time as a thing, because I was in radio before this, so I did radio for about 10
Oh,
years,
okay.
and then I jumped into podcasting. And the way it changed, I mean, when I was first doing it back in like 2020, it wasn't even video in the studio. And then within 2 years, it was like, well, you better start getting cameras in there and at least have it as an option for a podcast studio for people who want it. And then you see how editing's gone and all the different AI editing tools with like CapCut and Opus Clip and all those things. Like the industry
Yeah.
has it's changed dramatically in 5 years. Like it's been such a crazy shift. And that's kind of it's part of the fun of it, is like, okay, what are all these different tools? How can we put them together using custom GPTs and all that kind of stuff, and be able to build something that's really efficient and good. But yeah, like trying to keep up with everything of what's coming out, and should I use it? Because you almost get lost in trying all of these tools that you don't get anything done.
Uh,
You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah, because you have a business to run, and now you need to still be on the edge, making sure you're applying latest technologies and all that. But you also have to deal with the things that need to be taken care of. And I think in that context, not everybody has the luxury, but having someone who handles most of the task, it's kind of really, 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 really important because you're always in the business. There's no time where you can spend to say, okay, what's the next thing for the business? Okay, what do I do? Or what do I, in this context, podcast? What do I do to make the podcast better? What do I do to market the podcast? Because now you're already always you're recording from one episode to another, one episode to another. No time to sit down and say, okay, what's the big picture?
Yeah, and which is huge, and people should absolutely do, right? So one of the things that we do to go about that is, I mean, one, we're always trying to record stuff in advance and have a backlog of episodes. But when it gets to a point where we had one stage where we got to maybe 8 weeks ahead in terms of the
Wow,
content, which was
wow,
further on some level than we'd want to typically go, but we built it out to be 8 weeks ahead, so then we could let it ride for a little bit and not worry about making episodes in the short term, and go and
yeah,
reevaluate and all those different things that I was saying of like, how are we going to
yeah,
do this on social media? How are we getting more people to actually listen to the show? Just getting on the same page to understand what our priorities are between me
yeah,
and my business partner. Like we had to talk about all of that stuff. So not having to worry about the production of the show, but at the same time being consistent with the show makes it so much easier. But if you're not
yeah.
reflecting on it, you're not going to get anywhere. Like, or you're not going to get anywhere nearly as far as you want to go. You're not going to do. It's going to take you so much longer because you don't have that time to reset and reflect and see how it's going.
Yeah, I think that every podcaster, right? I mean, for me, I have ideas and all that, but I'm at the stage where I'm like, the core thing is figure out my system, my workflow, and have the consistency dialed in, right? So where I know that I have the everything I need to consistently put out episodes, whatever the frequency might be for me. And most persons are like, oh, how do I grow the show? How do I monetize the show? Which it's nice, and there's nothing wrong with growing and monetizing the show, right? But now you're focusing on growing your show, and you've not even figured out how to be consistent yet. You've not even figured out how to make sure that with the little time you have, you're able to release episodes every week and every depending on the type of show you're releasing, how to find guests, how to do. You've not figured those part out, and those things are not like second nature to you yet. But you're like, okay, you want to grow your show. You're trying out new ideas. Because at the end of the day, what happens is that what's the use of growing a show when the show is not even consistent in the first place? Like the last time you posted was like 3 months ago. I'm like, what's the use?
Yeah. So that's the stuff too. People have this weird expectation of, well, everybody in podcasting just gets really popular and gets all these sponsors. And so naturally, I'm so interesting and I'm so great. So of course, as soon as I put it out, everybody's been dying for me to podcast, but nobody's literally ever mentioned in their lives that person should podcast. You know what I mean? So it's just,
and then you hear the
yeah.
crickets.
Yep, and
And you're
and then
like,
they're like,
no,
"Oh, no, what's wrong?" And it's like, "Well, yeah, you didn't do any of this the right way. Like, you had the complete wrong mindset to all of this, and you took it for granted, and it's hard work. It's hard work to run a good show.
yeah.
So, yeah, people just don't appreciate it.
I think the one of the things people that who are not in industry who are just coming to podcasting, the idea of podcasting they have is what the media has painted for them, and that is news of Joe Rogan and all these big celebrities. And this is it. These people most of the times they have a lot of unfair advantage. First, they have production companies, in-house production companies handling their podcast, which their own goal is just to show up and to talk. And I know you said it's not just talking, but that's it basically for most of them. And
Yep.
then the other thing is that they're already celebs even before they started the podcast. So people want to actually hear them talk. So these things are already there. So when they start a podcast, they don't even have to promote it that much. They just in the news that I started a podcast and people start listening and they get people listening to the podcast, they're sponsors because they already have an audience before they even start the podcast. So the podcast is not, oh, this is what I'm using to grow my personal brand and grow my audience. But for most of us, right, we start the podcast, nobody knows who we are online. So this is our first attempt at even creating something and putting it out in the world. And so we're like, oh, well, nobody's listening. I'm like, of course, nobody's listening. Yeah, where do you expect the people to come from? Nobody knows who you are.
Exactly. Yeah. They're like, "Oh, yeah, I want to get like 10,000 downloads an episode, and I want to get sponsors." And it's like, listen, you're a leadership coach with 50 followers on Instagram. I don't know where you think this is coming from, but
Uh, yeah,
that's how
yeah,
people see it.
yeah, yeah. I think one of the things that people take for granted, like when people talk about podcasting, they tell you, oh, I mean, it will grow your show, you get sponsors, you get paid, you get leads for business. All these things are fantastic. They're really, really good. They're nice, right? But here's the thing. Growing a podcast, interviewing guests, especially guest podcasts, is a way and is a sure way to build your thought leader, to establish your thought leadership expertise in the realm of experts in whatever industry you're in. So what I mean is that if I wanted to, let's say, where are you calling from?
So I'm in Philadelphia in the U.S.
Okay, let's say in the US, let's say I wanted to establish my footprint as a podcast expert in the US, right? What would I do? Simple. I would interview all the podcasters, like majority of the podcasters in the US. I would go to podcasts that talks about podcasting in the US, and then yeah, and sooner or later, even though nobody visits my offer or buy my stuff or my products, what then happens is that all the people who are the movers and shakers of the podcasting industry, they know my name. And so when you mention me, like, this guy, Wisdom, he has a podcast. And like, yeah, I know that guy. Yeah, the guy is a podcaster. He's pretty crushing it. And guess what? I've established thought leadership because we're always looking at the bottom. How can we get more listeners? How can we change the world and all that? What about the top? How can we connect with people? How can we build the relationships with the guests and all that? And these ones are not really easy to measure. You can't see the number on your podcast chats. It's not there.
Yeah. And that's one of those really good points because it's and I tell this to a lot of people. It's not necessarily how many people are listening, but it's who's listening. Because you can
Yeah.
have a lot of people listen, but if they're not the right people, or if they're not people that can help you, or people that you can help, then what's the point, right? Like, and that's where all this message stuff and the goals that you have. That's why it's all so important. Because if your goal isn't, hey, like, and I'm saying this from a business owner perspective, it's like, okay, I'm a coach, I'm a consultant, whatever. I help a certain kind of person in a very specific situation with their problems. And if you're not getting those people to listen consistently, or people who might be a strategic partner for you, so when you do business, they do business. You know what I mean? People who would want to be a referral partner and send you a big chunk of clients because you can take a lot of stuff off their plate, and they know that you serve the same customer. Like, if you can't get those kinds of people to listen to the show, then yeah, you're missing all of the things that it's really about, and it's because you're distracted by the big number and the thing that all of these people who are doing it for entertainment and sponsorships, like, you're doing it that way instead of doing it the complete opposite, which is small, specific, intentional, and just building an audience again. Yeah, for leads and business and sales.
Yeah. It's very important. I just want us to go back to the very beginning. When you started the podcast 8 months ago. Before you started the podcast, how long have you been doing business?
So it's been about 5 years now.
Oh, wow. So you've been doing a podcast production company for 5 years. Just soon you started a podcast for the
So,
company?
what's funny? I had one for a little while. There was an Eagles show. So, Philadelphia Eagles are the football team here in Philadelphia. And with that, we did a show that was all about them because I came from sports radio. So, I had a sports radio show, and my entire audience was sports people. And so, getting into this business with podcasting, I figured that was the most natural way to promote what we do. But ultimately, man, sports is exhausting because you're following the news all the time. You're watching games all the time. And when you're watching the games, it's not just that you're watching it, but you're taking notes on it and rewatching games and all this other stuff. And it's just like you're never not working when you do sports. And that was part of the
Uh,
reason why I left. It was just exhausting because I was covering every sport, so I had to be aware of everything all the
uh,
time, and
yeah.
eventually I just burned out with it. So it was like, I don't like this. And as the business changed, we went from being sort of entertainment podcasts where it is sports and it is, oh, here's these stories we had at the bar and dating, and you know what I mean, like that kind of thing. We ditched all of that. And we started to focus hardcore on businesses and business development. So that's what our show had to be about. And so we had that one show for a while that I was a part of, the Eagles show. And then there's probably about a year and a half 2 years where we didn't have a show, and then we got back into it and launched the show that we wanted.
Yeah, earlier on you did mention that in the beginning it was just posts and just get clips for the social media and all that. And so how far later did that strategy change, or are you still using that strategy, or has it changed?
So, the strategy of going from, like, the entertainment people over to the business people, or which
No,
strategy?
no, no, no. I'm talking about the very beginning strategy, which was make the podcast so we can get clips for social media.
That I mean, that was a more recent development for us to come up with that idea because
Oh,
initially, we were, and a lot of it has to come up with really being in the space and thinking about the space critically and developing my own voice within the space. I think that's really the mastery of anybody in any profession is you spend so much time in it and you think about all of the things that you do. You think about the tools that you have. You think about the different strategies and principles that you believe in, like your approach and systems. So you build all of that stuff and it takes time to do it. And for me, not having the awareness of really fully what the podcast space was and having all of these things from radio, those radio sensibilities of it is, and it's similar to all the other entertainment stuff. You need big numbers and a wide audience, and you got to get people listening to the exact product. Like all of those things were dated. So it took me a long time to get to that point where it was all about the clips and just building awareness and relationships and growing your follower count by, like I do a lot of things where, for example, if I have a guest on the show, then if as soon as really it's as soon as that interview wraps, I will send them a request on LinkedIn to connect because now it's not just I had a connection with you and we had a good conversation. It's we're going to stay in touch. Thank you for this. I appreciate your time. Let's stay connected. And now I can monitor that person. They can monitor me. I'll like their stuff from time to time. You know what I mean? Like,
uh,
but it's a real intentional relationship building thing with the exact kind of people that I want real relationships with. So that kind of stuff though is something that it took me years to figure out. So yeah, in a lot of ways it's something that I've been thinking about for probably like the last year and a half, but we didn't get to it until October of last year to do it ourselves as really the flagship show for the business.
wow, wow. Okay, I like that. It's now instead of one to many. Like let's start with one to one. And because most of the times you just people just shouting into void, and I'm like, why shout into void when you can actually talk to one person? I know even if it's one person, you can actually see the person and say, "Hi, Vince. Yeah, I'd love to connect with you. Can you send me a message on LinkedIn?" You actually send the person. No, I'm like, no, I don't want to talk to Vince. Why would I talk to Vince? I rather much speak out to the void I don't know if anybody will listen to me, but I'll rather do that. I'm like, but he's here. Talk to him. No, 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 no,
Yeah. So yeah,
no.
it takes a major adjustment to get to that spot because people don't want to hear it. They do want to think about the big numbers. It's all they've known. And so to come out and say, I didn't care about how many people listen to my podcast. In a lot of ways, that's a radical thing to say. They're like, I can't, it's breaking rules in a sense, but I really don't care. For me. I really believe it, and that's what I've bet everything on it. Basically, like this is how my business operates. This is how I coach my clients. Everything is a long term play. It's relationship building. It's very intentional, and you've got a goal behind it. Of hey, you've got something to sell, and you're building relationships with the right people who either want to buy it, who have other customers that want to buy it and want to work with you to do that with them, and find those just consistent other unexpected growth opportunities that come with all that.
Yeah, 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 so true. Now, currently, what would you say it's the marketing strategy, the growth strategy for the podcast? Usually, when I ask the question, podcasters don't have answers for me, but is there one?
Yeah. So one of the things is, I mean, things like this, right? Showing up on other podcasts, talking with people, building awareness that way, and making sure that. And I recommend this to anybody. And I've broken my own rule from time to time, but I'm trying to get better at it. Is when you're on another podcast, your call to action should be your podcast, right? Like that you're getting people who listen to podcasts. It's a very specific lane, and not everybody does it, but that's why when you've got those people who do it, then you have to make sure you tell them, hey, listen to the podcast. So that's number one for me. Is I'm telling people, yes, call to action, go listen to the podcast. But then other stuff is and I'm trying to think about what the next moves are going to be, because we're doing things, for example, where we're reviewing the top 10 episodes, and we had a whole episode about this recently, which was we're going to go through the top 10 episodes of the show, and we're going to figure out, okay, what are the topics that did well, and how can we incorporate that content, more of that, into the show. So we decided to do that. We're going to get more episodes around what people are doing, or what people are interested in, and we're going to incorporate that. And then from there, what we're going to do is continue to develop more topics and see where that goes. Okay, if all of these episodes were really popular, then what does it look like if we do that again? And will people still be responsive to it? So that's the kind of thing that we're thinking about and trying to develop constantly. So that's going to be part of it. And then on the other side, yeah, I mean, we're open to other new avenues, but what are the ways that you can consistently, affordably go and do this kind of work where you're promoting the show and doing that in a way that's outside of the podcasting? Like, what adds on to that and complements it? So it takes a lot of work. Yeah, so if anyone wants to keep up with me, they can go to It's Not Just Talking. That is the podcast. I'm being true to my word. I'm following my own rules. It's Not Just Talking, and it's on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. So, Wisdom, thank you again for having me, and really appreciate the time.
That's it for today's episode of my podcast story. I am Wisdom Okonkwo, and I hope this conversation sparked new ideas and gave you a deeper look into the heart of podcasting. If you've loved this episode, consider supporting the show by buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/wisdomhq. Every bit helps keep the stories going. And hey, don't forget to follow, rate, and share this podcast with another podcaster or creator who would find it helpful. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you in the next episode.